I do want to ask though, so because those things have happened, you're saying that because of that, that gives you essentially justification for your bias against men?
I don't have a bias against men.
Well, hold on.
I don't want to have sex with them, but I don't, and I don't want my life to revolve around them. But I'm happy to work with them. I'm happy to be in the workspaces with them. I'm happy to be in creative spaces with them. I just don't want them to sexualize me. I want them to look at me from my brain.
But
that's it.
What does that have to do with the?
That doesn't mean that I have a bias against them, because, like I said, the only experience I have in my life of being physically attacked is by human men. So if that's my only experience, why would I choose to be alone with one in the woods?
So this question is asking you to do a risk assessment.
Yeah, I think it's less riskier to be around a bear because you can study on a YouTube video for 20 minutes how to survive a bear attack or whatever. I haven't done enough research. I know you get big or whatever, but I can learn those things pretty quickly and it'll work on pretty much all bears unless it has like some health problem and it's deranged. I mean, men can change they're all individual. They have highly, we're humans. We can think and manipulate and trick people. So bears can't trick me.
What percentage of men do you think then, because you must be doing some sort of calculus risk assessment here as to the likelihood that any given random man would hurt you? For example, if in this scenario, I say that, and you might disagree with this number, but if you were to grant it, less than 1% of men in this situation would choose to harm you in some way.
How do you know? You haven't interviewed every man that's alive.
She said he wasn't.
Okay, I'm sorry. Don't.
Can you engage in the?
I am engaging. That's why I asked a question. I'm trying to understand your example.
But so, if we grant that, would you still pick the bear?
If it was the case that less than 1% of men would harm me, then 100%. Obviously, that makes way more sense. It'd be less likely a man would attack me than a bear, but that's not a real fact. You made that up. So
fair enough. But so comparatively, speaking, first let me ask, what percentage of men then, like in actuality, since you don't agree that it's less than 1%, what percentage of men do you think would be inclined to victimize you in some way in this scenario?
I honestly don't know because I've been shocked so many times. I've really trusted people and been blown away. So I choose to, everyone I meet, assume that they're a good person. I see the good in everyone, but I'm also, once I see a red flag, I'm not going to ignore it. People show who they are really quickly, and I listen to their actions.
Do you think it's more than 10%?
I think more than 10% of men would look at me and have some kind of thoughts as far as wanting something sexual for me just by looking at me, which doesn't mean they're going to attack me for it. It doesn't mean that all men can't control themselves, but it does mean that even though they're already having that thinking towards me, they're already looking at me as an object in some way rather than as an intelligent person to have discourse with. So that makes me uncomfortable in the first place that they have the ability to attack me. If we were in the woods and I was the only woman left and they wanted to have sex and there's literally no one to have sex with, I don't know if they'd go crazy.
That's not the scenario.
I don't know what the scenario is. You said if I was alone in the woods with a man, so I'm assuming I'm alone in the woods with a man.
Yeah.
Which means there's no other women around. So if they want to have sex with me, I'm the only one.
You won't be stuck there in perpetuity.
I didn't know that. You didn't include that in the original thing. But again, if I can assess how a bear is going to act by its body language and stuff, and it's true. A man's body language can be a complete lie. So I would prefer to just see what it is for what it is and not have to try to read between the lines like I do with human men.
Might I just change the scenario a little bit? Would you rather be stuck in a 10 by 10 room with a random man or a random bear?
It really depends. If the statistic you're saying is that less than 1% of men want to harm me, then I'd rather be with a man.
Whatever you think it is.
I think I'd still rather be with a bear, to be honest with you, because I think I can study animal behaviors and learn, and I can't. No matter how much I study men, I don't know what they're doing.
What if we just did it right now? You don't have time to study the animal behaviors.
Then I guess maybe I'd pick a man because at least I know how to survive those situations with men. I know how to be fake submissive long enough to get out, but I don't want to be put in that situation anymore. So I think I'd rather just not be alone with men.
Do you think in all instances? Do you think in all instances you would have to be fake submissive?
Yes. If a man wanted to attack me, the only way out, unless I have a weapon, I'm less than 100 pounds. Unless I have a weapon, if a man wants to harm me, the only way to survive it is not to fight it, it's to be submissive.
So you're presupposing...
And I don't want to be in that position anymore.
You're presupposing in all instances that the man would be inclined to attack you. He could be he could have absolutely zero intentions.
That's what I'm saying. If he had no intentions of attacking me, then there wouldn't be a fight. But I'm just, in your scenario...
He could have intentions, but he could also not have intentions.
But that's always in any
That's
interaction.
Every
with men.
interaction with every man in the world is that way. I don't know their intentions.
If we can, I would like to try to get
A bear wouldn't attack you just because you're a woman.
A bear just
Bear
attacks.
just
A man-
attacks me.
Okay.
Yeah, they would.
So
A man, not all men, but the men that do attack because that woman is smaller, can't fight back, they can easily control them. A bear isn't gonna do that because you're a woman. They're gonna
So-
attack you because you're a meat.
okay, so
Yeah.
if I can, I would like to get something specific. If you can attribute a percentage to the amount of men that you think in this situation would be inclined to attack you in some way.
If I think it's 50-50. Yeah.
So 50% of the men in the United States would be inclined to.
I think they'd at least look at me and have a thought of, like,
I could.
I think
Let's
they
say-
look at me and
let's-
say, I could. She's 90 pounds. She's small.
What
She looks
percent- okay,
vulnerable. I
what-
could. I'm not going to, but I
what
think they just
percentage
look at
of-
me and immediately size me up.
Okay, what
Yeah.
percentage of men
But even
are, if I can, what percentage of men are heterosexual?
Probably a lot less than people admit. I think there's a lot
Okay.
of men that are more gay
Well,
than you know.
I
but
would be prepared.
A lot of the ones who
Grid
I think
One
that
Motorsports
heterosexual
donated
men are the.
$200.
One sec.
Sorry.
Brian, thanks for getting to my
Thank you,
queue.
Grid
Binky, I double dog dare you to debate feminism with Mrs. Wilson. It will be very amusing. I am off to bed. The amount of copium on this panel is overwhelming.
Good night.
Grid One, thank you for the TTS.
Good
Appreciate it.
riddance.
I hope,
Good night.
I hope
Sweet
you have
dreams.
I hope you have a good night, Grid One. Sweet dreams, like she says.
Tuck you in.
tucking you into happy nightmare.
Well, I mean, so even if I just grant to you,
Oh.
Modest
Hey,
Hikim
it's our
donated
homie.
$200.
It's our homies.
I honestly hope this 304 runs into a grizzly and tries to be big LMFAO. Talk about being misinformed. Ladies, your chest tattoos give you away. Cancel your award GTFO with your BS.
Always the
He's a
small-
brave and a
I
decent
know.
man. He's a pioneer.
he's always
yo,
the small
Hakama, thank you,
man.
man. Appreciate it. So if 90% of men are heterosexual, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if like the vast majority of them found you attractive. It's not clear to me if there's like just because a man finds you attractive that's going to then lead to you getting attacked or victimized in some way.
That's what's hard to ascertain, and that's what I think Liza was getting at earlier when she was saying we don't know men's brains. Is like we do find people. I can appreciate that you're not ugly. I think you have an attractive face. Does that make me attracted to you? No, I have no attraction to you whatsoever.
He's blushing.
But I have no attraction. But that's what I'm saying is like the way that I think about people. I can look at someone and think they're attractive, but I
Let
wonder when men
donated
look at me and think I'm
$200.
attractive.
Hold on.
The level of delusion is off the scale. I'd laugh as I walk
And
away
that's
while
exactly
the bear
why.
eats your dumb
That
ass.
comment.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's
That
scary
comment
that
right
men would
there.
walk away while I got murdered. Like I would
That
never
is
say that to
exactly
anyone.
why I
You'd
would
rather
say
pick
that
the
he's
bear. That's totally valid.
It is valid, but to him say
So
I
just
laugh
because
while
we pick
you're
a bear,
dying
we
is
deserve
weird.
to die?
No, we just shouldn't. Do you think men
Just a
have a
fucking
duty?
weird
Wait,
thing
is
to
this
say.
a really a feminist position that
No, I'm
men,
just-
no, hold on. Let me
I'm
finish.
going off his
Let me
comment.
finish. Do you think men have a duty to protect random women?
Wanting us to die is different than them having a duty. I never said they have a duty to protect us, but them standing there and be like, haha, die bitch because you picked a bear, yeah.
That's fucking weird. I don't wish death upon
fucking
anyone.
weird.
People make choices I disagree with all the time, and I don't want them to be dead. And if something bad happened to them, I genuinely
All right.
feel sadness for them.
So just who
I'm a
picked?
human.
It was bear and bear, right? 50. You said 50% of men would be inclined to.
I
victimize
don't know.
you.
That's what I'm saying. Is that's
said
what
it was
that's what it
50-50.
feels. I'm saying that's
It
what it
feels-
feels like to
okay.
me. But I'm not in your head, and that's why
It
I
has
just feel
nothing to do with
comfortable
my
not
head.
being alone with men.
It has
And
nothing to
that's
do with
okay.
my head. It's what you think.
When I'm saying you, I'm talking about men as a group.
Right, I know.
I'm
but
not talking about you specifically. I don't want to be in a room alone with you, but I don't think you'd harm me either if we were in a room alone. I just am saying, like,
Okay.
I don't know how men think, but I don't think men think like me, where they're like, oh, she's pretty. Okay, let's continue. I think they think, oh, she's pretty. What's she look like naked? Does she know how to suck dick? Like, I think they think those things, and
Wow.
that's what makes me uncomfortable.
And you say you don't have a bias against men?
I didn't say I don't have a bias against men.
You literally said, I don't have a bias against men.
I didn't say that verbatim. I never said the word bias once this whole conversation.
No.
Can you replay the clip I said the word bias?
I'm pretty sure I asked if you have a bias against men, and you said, no, I do not.
I said that I'd love to.
How is that any different?
It's completely different. I'm saying.
How is it different?
I'm trying to explain. You keep interrupting the same fucking question.
Go ahead.
Let me answer it. So, like, Jesus Christ. So, like, I am happy
Please don't use the Lord's name in vain.
Oh, poor baby. Are you
Go
offended?
ahead.
Oh, what a poor baby. So anyway, I'm happy to work with men who. I want to work with people as human beings. I don't want them to look at me sexually. I don't want to look at them sexually. I want them to see the intelligence I have. I want to see the creativity they have, vice versa. I want to feed off of each other. I want to be in the work environment with people who want to work towards the same things I want to work with, regardless of gender. I'm just saying, I'm choosing not to be alone with men, really, in any respect, and that's not me having a bias against them. That's the way I choose to live my life. I don't hate you guys. I just don't want to fuck you.
Do you know what prejudice means?
Why is that a problem?
Do you know what prejudice means?
Are you prejudiced because you don't want to be fucked in the ass by a man? Like you have your own preferences. I don't want to be alone with a man. That doesn't mean I hate you guys or have a bias against you. I don't feel comfortable with you.
You don't want to get fucked in the ass, so you hate gay people?
Let me ask you. So,
like, you don't hate gay people. I'm not assuming that, but I'm assuming you don't want to have sex with a man. That's your preference. I don't think you're biased.
What does that have to do with bias or prejudice?
Because you're saying because I don't want to be alone with a man that means I have a bias against them.
Well, hold on.
I cannot feel safe around you and choose to exist in the world around men.
Tell me if this is correct. So, you said that I bet if most men saw me, they would think this. They would think, oh, she's attractive. Damn.
Modest Heathen
Sorry,
donated
Hakama.
$200.
Thank you.
900% red tank top wished that Trump's assassin was successful, but also says literal brain dead shit like I wish death on no one. Sorry, Brixton. YouTube will hate this. When will you be on Rumble?
Yo, Hakama, thank you, man, for the TTS. Really good to see you back, man. It's been a while, so thank you. Appreciate it. Really quick.
For the record, I don't wish death upon Donald Trump. I just don't want him to be my president. But I don't want him to be. I don't wish harm upon literally anyone.
Okay,
and that's
fair
hard for people to believe because other people, I think, do wish that.
Sure.
And they don't agree with me because they don't know what it's like.
Thank you, Hakama. So
that
going back to this. So you said something along the lines of, if I recall correctly, that if a man were to see you in the forest, that he would think something along the lines of, wow, she's attractive. I wonder if she sucks dick good. I wonder how she looks naked. Did you say that essentially?
I've had that experience.
No.
Yes.
Did you say that?
Yes, I did say that because I've had that experience.
How is that not precisely a prejudice and a bias against men to assume, to presuppose that is precisely what a majority of men is going to think?
I never said the majority. I said maybe it's 50-50, maybe it's less. I don't know what it is, but I do know for a fact that some men think that way because they've told me to my face and they've shown me in their actions. I don't think all men feel that way, but that's because I know some of them do. I just choose to not be alone.
It's true. Men do undress women, and that's okay as long as they don't act. They undress women in their minds, as long as they don't act inappropriately.
I understand you've been victimized. I get that. Let us assume for a second that you grew up in like the hood, okay, and you were white, and you were being victimized by people who lived in this demographic, and so later, right, when somebody asked you, would you rather be on an island with a person who was black or a person who was white, and they said always a person who was white, would they be being prejudiced?
Not necessarily, because that's what I'm saying is these are the thinking that we need to break down. Is like I had to come to that point with men. I was a man hater. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a man hater anymore because I've realized they're not all that way. That doesn't mean I want to get close to you necessarily, but it's the same thing. But yeah, let me continue. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I don't necessarily think that. Like I think if you had the living shit beat out of you by a black person and then you instinctively felt fear of a black person, like that's not necessarily wrong. That's PTSD. However, if you choose to allow that belief to color your life and color the way you treat black people forever, you have responsibility to change that.
Well, then this is exactly Brian. Then you really have just made Brian's point. I have broken down. I don't feel hatred towards men anymore. I just really don't want my life to revolve around you. That's it. But hang on. Let's reverse this, right? Hang on.
You can do your life and be happy.
Uno reverso.
I just don't want to be a part of it.
Right? Okay. So if a white person was like, okay, yeah, I get it. I just don't ever want to be in the room with a black person.
I mean, like, again, if they choose to go hide in their house, like, as long as they're not actively harming black people because of their fear, anyone can think whatever they want in their head as long as they're not actively harming others.
Yeah, but is it correct for them to think that?
it's not correct or incorrect to think anything. What's incorrect are actions. You can think whatever you want, but once you take those thoughts and make them actions.
So if they said out loud, I don't want to be in a room with a person because they're a different race than me.
That's something they need to. It's something they need to be like. I understand and have compassion for myself because the trauma I experienced made me feel this way. But I need to recognize that that's something I need to break down. Like, that's part of growing up and maturing. Is like I had to realize a lot of the things that traumatized me as a child. Like the whole world isn't that way. Like that's why I'm here talking to you guys.
Yeah.
I was walking down the street to get tacos with my fiance. I didn't know I was going to be on this weird conservative talk show with two men. But like I just like I'm not afraid of you. I'm not wanting to not have discourse with you. But if you were like, come home with me after this, I'd be like, no, thank you, because that's not what I want.
That's not even what we're. Okay.
But that's what I'm saying is I just don't want my life to revolve around you. It doesn't mean I don't want to work with you. It doesn't mean I don't want to talk to you on TV and understand your point of view. I think it's fascinating. I totally disagree, but it's fascinating, and I like to learn from you. But I don't want it to go beyond that. That's literally it.
Let me
That's
ask
the end of the story.
a quick follow up. So, if you're on an island, let's say there's no bear.
Yeah.
Okay. You're just on an island, and you are told before you go on, you're given a crystal ball, so you can look into the person's heart. And you know for sure he's not thinking anything about you that way, nothing like that. But he hates feminists, so he's like, look, if we're magically being transported to this island against our choice, right? Is he obligated in any way, shape, or form to help you?
No, but I'm not obligated to help him or have sex with him. Like, that's what I'm saying. We're not obligated to do anything to each other.
He doesn't want anything like that.
If he doesn't want anything to do with me, I would respect that. Just like I would expect him to respect that about me back. That's
so
it.
if you're starving to death on this island, and he has a big, boar that he just took down, right? And you would agree he'd probably be better at that because, like you said, you're 90 pounds, right? So
Unless I had a gun, I could do it alone.
Yeah, no, okay. So he fashions a spear out of like vines and shit, right? He goes takes this boar out. He's cooking. You're starving to death, right? Does he have any obligation to give you that boar?
Morally, I mean, I think it's kind of rude of him not to, but that's the kind of person I am, is if he didn't want shit to do with me, I would turn around and I'd catch a bigger boar and figure it out. Because the thing is like, a lot of this is not just all about bronze, it's about intelligence. Like, if I have the tools, I can do the same thing men can do. I just need the tools because I don't have the arm muscle. That doesn't make me
you
less...
have no tools.
Yeah. Well, if I'm on an island, I could make some tools. 'Cause
Yes.
guess what? Part of my troubled teen industry story was I was one of those girls in those wilderness camps. I had to make a fire out of random fibers of plants and sticks. Like, I literally actually learned how to do all that shit. I'm sure I could figure it out. But I think it'd be really rude of him. And if it was vice versa and he was starving and I was the one that caught the boar, my nature as a person is I would share with him.
But he has no obligation to?
But not necessarily, no. Because I'm not... that's what I'm saying. I can take care of me. I don't need you guys to protect me.
That's all. I
felt
just wanted to hear
safer
it.
living with a woman than I ever have.
So I will move it on here. I guess really quick. So you said it was about 50-50 for the men.
Maybe that's what it seems like to me from my limited worldview experience, but
Okay.
I haven't seen the whole world and I haven't met every man. But
you
it
think
seems
it's
like that way.
You
Feels
think
like
it's
it.
probably 50-50.
Feels that way.
50% of
Sometimes,
men.
some days it really feels that way.
Okay, and then you said bear too. What if you had to attribute a percentage? What percentage of men do you think would victimize women in this scenario? Into the mic.
I mean, I guess it's hard for me to know. If I guess it just depends. My experience is it's more than 50% because that's my interaction. If I go through the list of men, and for me, I would say more like 75. But
75%.
in general, I don't know. It's
Sure.
probably less.
Okay.
But I also just want to add. Oh, never mind.
hold
It's
on.
fine.
We'll come back.
Butler
We'll come back to
donated $200. Brixton, I've never seen a panel
What
where
the hell, bro?
100%
Oh my
of
dude,
women's
it's Jay
infected
Butler.
with
He's back
genital
too?
herpes. Congratulations, you've really outdone yourself this
Bro,
time.
everybody's coming out the
Absolutely
woodwork.
filthy. Excuse me while I choke on my own vomit.
What the hell?
When's
Yo,
the
Jay
last
Butler.
time you got tested, buddy?
We've
It's
been
like a high
missing
school
you, bro.
insult.
Matt,
You have
when was the last
herpes.
time?
When's the last time
When's the
everyone
last
got
time we saw
tested?
Jay Butler? Months.
Round
We've been
table.
missing your herpes talk, bro. Hold on. I got something
He's
for
a
you.
brave and a decent man. He's a pioneer.
Dude, Jay Butler, where you been, bro? We've been waiting on the herpes conversation.
basement.
But just for context, guys, he would every show send in a message about always herpes. He's a doctor.
It's a
bro.
guilty conscience.
I was going to say, he has
He's a
something going on.
urologist.
Suppressed.
Jay Butler's a urologist. Anyways, so you said 75% of men in this scenario.
But I do just want to, I think the main point for me is that I am trying to change that initial bias that, okay, I don't know all men, and I don't think I have to believe that it's actually the opposite of what I think, and that men don't want to attack us. You know, I hope that's true, but when it keeps happening, it makes me lose faith, honestly. So it's hard for me to believe when I'm constantly looking, and even that's why I'm here today, because I'm interested in people's opinions and thoughts. But yeah, so I would hope it's less, but in my experience, that unfortunately hasn't been the case.
And if we reverse the question and we ask, do you think a man would prefer to be stuck in the forest with a woman or a bear? What would your answer be?
I hope they don't pick me.
Not you, a random woman or a random bear. Which one do you think a man would choose?
They would probably, depending on who they are, their character, their morals, they could choose a woman. They could choose a bear. As long as it's not me, I really don't care.
So,
which one do you think they would choose?
Depends on the man.
Okay.
Generally speaking, probably women.
So-
They would probably
What do you
choose a
think?
woman.
I would think typically women. Yeah.
The bear. Women are terrifying. No, I'm just kidding. They'd probably go with the woman.
I'd say the women for companionship. I think, yeah.
Yeah, it's the woman. This
Because
is
they
men we're
expect a woman
talking
to
about. Come on.
Yeah, definitely the
Be their
woman.
companion.
Come on now.
If my boyfriend answered the question, he'd say he doesn't want to get me too'd.
okay.
Oh,
Here, final thing on this.
I have a
So
lot to say
going
about that.
back to the 75% number that you gave and the 50% number that you gave, there are 165 million men in the United States. Using your percentages, are you prepared to say that in the United States, about 80 million men in the United States would be inclined to victimize a woman in the scenario? And then for you, are you prepared to say that 127 million men in the United States would be prepared to victimize a woman in the scenario? Go ahead.
No, I don't think so. And that's my whole point, is that I truly believe that I'm creating a statistic in my mind because you want a specific answer, but I'm really can only answer based on my experience and can hope that it's less.
Yeah.
So I think that would be wrong for me to say,
Yeah,
yes,
I
that
think I
many,
get it.
many
You're
men
saying
do
your
that.
intuition's telling you one thing, but
Yeah.
your rational brain's telling you
Right,
that's
and that's
probably
what I'm
not true.
saying. I'm trying to be rational and not avoid like interaction with men. Like I'm not going to run away.
Well, then if you were to
but-
rationalize, so now you have like this intuitive battle. My intuition tells me one thing, my reason's telling me something, which is pushing back against intuition, which happens sometimes. If you were to only use the rational, absent the intuition, which is really hard to untangle, but assuming you were to only try to look at it from that purview, would your answer change as to how many men you think would be prepared to do that?
No, I think that I would want there to be more. How do I say this? I think the amount of assaults and things like that are underreported anyway. So if we had more accurate numbers, then I feel, because I know the statistics about how many men and women are being hurt, but I don't like. I think and I know it's more likely people that they know. So I think that's what makes me scared and not willing to trust men, because it's not the strangers. It's
Yeah, but you're going with a random guy.
Yeah, but if we're going with a random man, then I don't know. It's still so, like you said, I want to go rational and want to believe that men would want to step up and protect women, because that's what. But also, there's no obligation to, because I do believe in free will. So.
Do you think that, because this, just so you know, this answer is given a lot, where they think the percentages are really high, and it's based on that intuition that often it's underreported, things like this. But if you were a man in modernity and you heard women saying this, that they believe that over 50% of men in the U.S. population are in some way willing to assault them, why the hell would you ever want to go around women?
Exactly. No, I totally agree, and
Why
that's
would you
what
ever in a million
No, I
years
know.
want to ever go
I
around
think
women?
I think that's why it's kind of another topic, but why it's kind of what I was saying earlier, why men are so lost in the sauce right now. I mean, earlier we talked about, what was it, X age, men being the predominant ones in our society who take their lives, and I think we've done, not a great job at navigating and like I said, kind of crucifying them and villainizing them to where it's too much, to where they're now like, well, what do I do? Even their instincts, like, do I do this, this, and they're just lost in their identity right now, and that's, you know, a problem.
Have any of you ever opened up the Citizens app and saw how many registered sex offenders live within proximity of you?
Horrifying.
Yeah.
But because if we're going to talk
A lot of
about,
them are female teachers.
I'm not saying,
And
I'm
that
not
makes me
saying
sick as
Elaine
well.
has
That
it.
makes me sick that women do that.
disgusting.
It does.
So the thing is like, yeah, there's not that many, by the way. Even if you had within your proximity 100 people, you don't really realize how many people are actually in your proximity, probably.
There's probably more than the ones who are pictured because
so
of
much.
underreported crimes.
Yeah, but
So
even
you
if that were
agree.
true and you were to double it, it would still be a really tiny sample of that population.
But you agree that there's
Well, I think
more
one,
than what's
I think
listed on the
one is
Citizens
too
app.
many, right? But I'm still rational about this, right? So I'm saying even if one is too many, and I prefer that there wasn't even one within this proximity. If there was 100, if you're living in the middle of downtown Santa Barbara, that's a really low number.
but the chance is never zero.
Well,
Yeah, it wouldn't be
So-
zero if there was none.
so I guess I do want to move it
Unfortunately,
on to the
there
next
is.
thing. I still would just like to pose the question one more time, and I'll even use your lower number of 50%. After
Isaiah
this
Flute
TTS.
donated $200.
Yo, Isaiah, thank you, man.
Andrew, this seems like half of a panel of junkies and sex workers. Good luck, because they are not able to logically think.
Well, I disagree. I think that some people on the panel actually, in comparison to many of the panels, have given reasoned arguments that I can at least engage with. So I'm happy about that.
I think it's been a pretty fantastic panel.
I think you're
Nice.
just
Except her, because she's on a fucking journey. But everybody else has been doing fantastic.
Yes, exactly.
I'll read this really quick. John Green, I don't know these men can understand what 50% or more are thinking. How much do they know about bears? They are 100% looking for food. John Green, thank you for the super chat, man. Really
Yeah,
appreciate
but
it.
she's saying her intuition doesn't match her reason. So she's saying that they're in conflict with each other.
Yeah, that happens all
So
the time.
so you're making a rationalization.
Yeah, and I
You're
think that's
saying,
important.
I know I'm wrong, but I still feel this way.
Yeah.
And so that's a rationalization.
Yeah, and I don't think that separating men and women, and especially because I'm not straight, so I can't take away from that. Like most people are straight and men love women and women love men. So I don't have the same, like, I don't need a man in my life.
Butler donated $200.
Thank you, man.